Hare Krishna. So I welcome you all to the text 3 of the Nectar of Instruction. So this text speaks about what are those practices that help us on the path of Bhakti. So I have given the title to this as the recipe for consistency in Bhakti. Yes. So we are all practicing devotional service. But oftentimes, the most common problem that all the sadhakas get back to me with, or even it's a struggle of every practicing devotee, is consistency. So we all understood what is the goal of life. We all understood the process. We are all trying to execute it. But what's lacking is consistency. Yeah, one day I feel like, and I chant many rounds. In fact, I chant 16 rounds, or I chant more rounds, 32 rounds. But sometimes it's like, it's like an ECG graph. You all know what's an ECG graph, right? It goes up, comes down. Your PQR is T, goes up and comes down. So what do? Why is it that there is no consistency? Yeah. So although it is a fact that it is the part of sadhana bhakti that there are ups and downs, yet every practitioner should endeavor to be consistent. So Nectar of Instruction in this text 3, Srila Rupa Goswami gives us 6 amazing ingredients that form a beautiful recipe for consistent bhakti. Yes. So please make a note of each of these ingredients and then try to cultivate them, and then you will see that effect in your practices. So we will go through the verse first. We will recite the verse, the translation, and then go through. Can you show us the PPT? Yeah, so we will first recite the verse. Text 3. Yes. Utsäha Niscaya Dhairya Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyagat Sato Vritte Shadbhir Bhakti Parisiddhyati. If you remember, in the text 2, it was Shadbhir Bhakti Vinashyati, which second chapter speaks about all those 6 practices which ruin one's bhakti. But these are the 6 practices that prasiddhyati, that enhance one's devotional service. We'll go through the translation. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. So these are the 6. Number 1, being enthusiastic. Yeah. Number 2, endeavoring with confidence. So being enthusiastic is utsäha. Yeah. Niscaya is endeavoring with confidence. Yeah. Dhairya means patience. Yeah. Sangatyaga, that means, tattat karma pravartanat means acting according to regulative principles. Yeah. And Sangatyaga is abandoning the association of non-devotees. And Satovritti is following the footsteps of previous acharyas. And these are the 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So powerful they are. Yeah. These 6 principles are not ordinary. They assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So let us try to understand each of these items in detail and in depth. Today we will just try to do only 3: utsäha, niscaya, and dhairya. The remaining 3, tattat karma pravartana, satovritti, and sangatyaga, that we are going to do in the next session. So in the purport, in the explanation, the purport of this text, Srila Prabhupada very beautifully begins with an amazing statement. Yeah. Krishna consciousness is not what it is. Yeah. Can you show us the PPT? Krishna consciousness is not it's not about imaginative ecstasy, nor is it a sentimental speculation. Yeah. So devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Yeah. Its substance is practical activity. So powerful. Yeah. So devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Sometimes, oftentimes, whenever it comes to bhakti, people tend to think, oh, this is for sentimentalists. So, in the very first statement, Prabhupada uproots that fact. I mean, that myth. It's a myth busting. Yeah. It is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. That means some ecstasy that I am just imagining. No, it's not an imagination. It is real. And its substance is practical activity. This is most important. Whenever we think of devotees, yeah, who is the first devotee who comes to our mind? Yeah, okay, next slide. It's either Hanumanji or Arjuna. These are the two classical examples of great devotees. Yeah. And what is Hanumanji doing? He is not in some kind of a imaginative ecstasy. He is doing a action, solid action. Yeah, whether it is, crossing the ocean and reaching Lanka, isn't that a great action? To reach and searching for Mother Sita and finding Mother Sita, giving her the Chudamani and going back all the way and reporting to Ram, action. Yeah. Or whether in the battlefield, in the Yuddha Kanda, when Lakshmana collapsed, going all the way and bringing Sanjeevani, action. Yeah, or putting Lanka on fire, action. Anything, any activity you see of Hanumanji, it's full, power-packed, action-packed. Yeah. So that is bhakti, that is devotional service. Yeah, so bhakti is not imaginative ecstasy, yeah, or sentimental speculation. Its substance is in its activity. Or think of Arjuna, another great example of great devotee. What is he famous for? Yeah, he was never sitting passive. He was on the battlefield. He used to tell that, whenever Arjuna tells, this is Arjuna's words in Mahabharata, he says, whenever he sees a battlefield, full of warriors, his blood boils and he just waits to jump into action. That's his spirit. Yeah, that's his spirit of action. So devotional service means activity. It is not passive. It is active. Or we see also the example of the gopis, yeah, or this beautiful example in Vrindavan. Yeah, in Vrindavan, the next slide. Yeah, in Vrindavan, everybody, the whole Vrindavan is bustling with activity, so much of activity. All the Brajavasis are always, they're either taking care of the cows or they're, cultivating the fields. And, this fruit vendor who has come, her love is expressed through some action. And all the gopis of the Vrindavan, they're always either churning butter and singing the songs of Krishna, milking the cows, making nice sweet preparations for Krishna throughout the day, like rasgullas, rabdi, sandesh, samosa, kachori, all the best of food, yeah, items. We're always making some preparations for Krishna. So Yashoda Mai was always busy in the kitchen. Yeah. So service is a verb. Yeah, devotional. Bhakti is a verb. Yeah, it is translated by Prabhupada as devotional service. So this point is very, very important for us to understand, because we understood that the ultimate goal of life is achieved or is bhakti. Yeah, and the process is bhakti yoga, and bhakti yoga means action. And what is that action? So this action technically is performed by, next slide. This is another beautiful statement Prabhupada makes. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Bhakti means it's a sort of cultivation. That is why we say, what are you doing? We are cultivating devotion. And the practice in devotee sense, we are cultivating devotion. It's a sort of just like how in agriculture, you're cultivating. You're cultivating crops, and there's a process. You're sowing the seeds, and when the seedlings sprouts, you water them, you protect them from pests. You ensure that there is adequate sunlight. There is fencing from predators, and day in and day out, you're literally conscious of the crop that you have sown. So exactly is bhakti. It's a sort of cultivation. Yeah, one should be conscious of the process. One should be aware of what one is doing. And it is activity. Yeah, cultivation means we refer to activity again. Yeah, so those activities are numerous. Yeah, in bhakti, there is a lot of variety. It is not boring. It's very interesting. Yeah. So what is that variety? Krishna has given 9 different types of performance of bhakti, starting from Shravanam. Yeah, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. These are the 9 Navavidha bhaktis. Yeah, there are 9 different types of devotional service. And starting with Shravanam. Shravanam being the most important, most potent. Yeah. In the 7th chapter, Krishna says, Maya sakta manapatha yogam yunjan madashraya asamshayam samagram mam yata jasyasi tachrunu. Tachrunu. Shrinu means Krishna is telling Arjuna, please hear. Yeah, hear. This hearing is so important. And how one should hear? Maya sakta. Asakta. Asakta means Prabhupada translates as attachment, with attachment. So Krishna is telling Arjuna to hear, but not just passive hearing. Hear with mind attached to me. Maya sakta manapatha. Yogam yunjan madashraya. Then what happens? Then asamshayam samagram ma. Then you will get to know about me beyond any doubt. Asamshayam samagram, completely. So Krishna is willing to give himself completely, reveal himself completely. But what should one do? One should simply hear. Simply hear means not simply hear. There is an adjective to hearing. Yeah, what is that? Maya sakta. Krishna always, whenever he speaks about hearing, he always gives adjectives also. One should note these adjectives, which are very important. Yeah, even in this beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shrinuvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti suhrit satam. Yeah. So Shrinuvatam Swakatha Krishna. It is, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Whenever whoever hears the Punya Shravana Kirtana of the glories of the Supreme Lord, who are in themselves very auspicious, what does Krishna do? Lord Krishna himself enters into the heart of such a devotee through the medium of the sound vibration. Vidhunoti, he removes all the inauspicious elements of the heart. But for whom? Suhrit Satam, for a truthful devotee. Again, adjective. Yeah, Krishna says, I will personally enter into your heart through the message. Yeah, and I will remove all the inauspicious elements in your heart. But as your well-wisher, Suhrit. But for whom? Satam, for a truthful devotee. That means a devotee who is sincere, who is sincerely endeavoring, who is genuinely seeking. Yeah, and this is what is cultivation. Cultivating of that mood, cultivating of that, seriousness, cultivating of that sincerity. It's a cultivation. Yeah, cultivation is not just external and doing some activities. Even cultivating the consciousness, it's a more subtle, So Krishna consciousness is not something easy, because maybe apparently it might look like externally, even if you're not doing some work, but the work at the level of consciousness it's very subtle. It may not be visible, but preparing the right consciousness is the entire game. That is why Prabhupada named this whole our whole institution is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Yeah, consciousness. Building that consciousness is a very, very most important activity. If not externally, we might be doing many things, but if we are not building the right consciousness, it's just a mindless endeavor and it leads nowhere. We might just get some sukrutis or pious credits, but to actually get, make a difference, to actually reach the goal, what is required is building of the consciousness. That is why Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada writes, the advancement of a devotee depends on the attitude. Attitude means how we are consciously cultivating and building our consciousness behind our practices. Yeah. So this is the process starting from Shravana. Next. So very beautifully Prabhupada writes, this material world is actually a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature pleasure-seeking. Yeah. So the nature of the living entity is that they want to be free. Yeah. And freedom is like the nature of the living entity. That is why we all seek freedom. Yeah, this material world is a confinement. You can hardly do anything what your heart really wants. Yeah. Why? The nature of the living entity is it's pleasure seeking. But if you seek pleasure in whichever way you want, you're punished in the material world. Maybe there are some relaxations in the heavenly planets, but nonetheless, even that is a place of confinement. It is much more like little easier in the heavenly planets. Yeah, but even there are some laws of the heaven. So the living entity is by nature, it is free. Used to unlimited freedom, like a bird flying in the unlimited skies. But this material world is a place of confinement. Yeah, so they actually want to be free from the confinement of this material world, of the conditioned habits, but not knowing the process of liberation, they're bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. So we're all seeking that freedom, we're all seeking that bliss, we're all seeking that happiness, and we're all seeking that pleasure, that unlimited pleasure. But the unfortunate thing is we seek the pleasure at the wrong place. Yeah, what we are seeking is true, but we are seeking that in the wrong place. That is why Srila Bhakti Thakur very beautifully compares a soul to a fish. Yeah, in his beautiful bhajan, next slide. Arkeno maya jale padite cho jiva mina nahi janu baddha hoirobe tumi chiro dina. Yeah. Arkeno maya jale padite cho jiva mina nahi janu baddha hoirobe tumi chiro dina. That is, O Jiva. Yeah. Why have you become like a fish fallen into Maya's net? You do not know that you will be trapped in this net for a very long time. This Jiva, he's comparing the Jiva to a fish and this whole material world to be a net. And it's a self-introspection. He's talking to his own self. This is, in English, it is called soliloquy. Yeah, talking to one's own self. Saying, why have you become like a fish fallen into Maya's net? Yeah, that means a fish that is so freely swimming in the unlimited waters is now caught up in the net. Just imagine the condition of the fish that has fallen into a net. Yeah, it's fearful. It's, it's out of place. It's grappling. It's wanting to get back to the water, but it's trapped. Imagine what's the situation. What is the anxiety it is going through? That is why material world is a place of kuntha. Spiritual world is Vaikuntha. Why is it kuntha, full of anxieties? Because it's like the fish that has fallen into the net. So this is the state of each and every living entity in this material world. What exactly a fish is going through in the net when it is caught, all of us have that similar intrinsic fear that is so difficult to overcome. Yeah, because we are out of our original nature. And he says in the next verse, yeah, in the next slide. Yeah, and why the Jiva Mina, why the soul has come and become trapped in this net Maya Jala? For Ati Tuchha Bhogash. Ati Tuchha Bhoga se Bandi hoye maya pashe, rohile vikrita bhave, danya jatha paradhina. So for very paltry pleasures of this material world, yeah, the living entity has become bound in this material mire. Ati tuchha bhogash. And having come, it has stayed rebellious and is receiving the punishment of being chained to this loss of material nature. This is the status quo of every living entity. Don't be sad. I mean, there is a hope. Yeah, but let's understand what's first. Let's analyze the problem and then get into the solution. Because unless we understand what the problem we got into, we don't endeavor to focus on the solution. Yeah. So that's the nature of this material world. This material world always gives us just that much amount of happiness to make us feel I'm okay here. Yeah. So that is why it's important to know where we are, and what we are subjected to. So what's the hope now? Now, what's the solution? So in this beautiful bhajan, the next one he gives. Ekhona bhakati bale, Krishna prema sindhu jale, krida koriyana yase, thako tumi Krishna dhina. So, Ekhona bhakati bale, Krishna prema sindhu jale. Only by the power of devotional service, you will be set free. Yeah, what's the only way out of this Maya Jal or the trap that we are in? Only by the power of devotions. Ekhona bhakati bhakti. No other way. What will that will alone set you free. And once you're set free, you'll be again playing in the ocean of love for Krishna, and you will take shelter of Krishna and be his servant. Krida kori anayasi thako tumi Krishna dhina. So this is a beautiful journey of the living entity. Yeah. Harikeno Maya Jale, Poditecho Jiva Mina. No, it has come because of whatever the original sin, the desire to be away from Krishna, becoming trapped in this material world. And once trapped, that's what Prabhupada says, we are here since time immemorial. That means you cannot trace back the history or origin of the time when the living entity has come into this material world. Yeah. It's a long, long time. Once trapped, it's bound to be here for a long, long time. Yeah. And then, going through, for what reason here? Atituchha bhogash. We enjoy for, in a very nonsensical way, that's living entities bound. So one way for the fish, the only way, not one way, the one and only way to get out of this mire is by devotional service. That is why devotional service is so important. It's not an option. It is not an option. Yeah, it is a privilege. Yeah, it is a need. It is a necessity. It's not an option. We should understand the difference between these two. It's not an option. It's a necessity. It's an urgency, actually. If you really know the truth, the truth of this material world, one understands it is an urgency. So this is bhakti. So when when a person understands that this is the only way that devotional service has to be practiced to free oneself, and Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that is the very purpose of ISKCON. The International Society of Krishna Consciousness has been, made or has been brought into its existence for this purpose of giving everybody an opportunity to engage in the path of devotional service. So that once engaged, the path of liberation immediately opens. So once a person with some faith, begins the process of hearing, immediately, the doors to liberation opens. There's a beautiful verse in which it is said that as soon as a person, a living entity, begins to chant the holy name of Hari, Lord Shri Krishna, So immediately Lord Brahma, he starts preparing Madhupak, knowing that certainly this person has started chanting, so eventually he will definitely come back to the spiritual world. And I am here waiting for him with Madhupak. Madhupak is like a sweet, like, as soon as you are on your way back to the spiritual world, just like you attain success, there is Laddu Ghato, you'll give sweets to everyone. So Brahma is waiting to give that Madhupak to that living entity as soon as he begins chanting. So, whatever ups and downs we are going through, it's just a matter of how much we want to extend our stay in the material world. But, once having started, it is said in the Nectar of Instruction itself, Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness is such a powerful process that once having started, the practitioner is dragged to the success. Yeah, that is the power of Bhakti. Once having started, the practitioner is dragged to success. Can there be any other process like this? No. So one should then, so what now here is what Bhakti's potency is and what Krishna consciousness is offering. And from our side now comes the ingredient for the consistency in Bhakti. So one should accept this opportunity to return home back to Godhead very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. So now the key ingredient to attain success in this path, having understood where we are and having understood where we have to go, the next question is about how to get there. Yeah. So why we are here, we understood. How we are here, we understood. What do we do to get out of here? So that's when Srila Rupa Goswami is giving us these 6 ingredients, starting with utsäha. Yeah, with enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is very, very important. And so what is enthusiasm? Enthusiasm means action. But action for whom? Yes, enthusiastic means immediately we'll think of some people who are jumping up and down, who's creating a lot of positive energy around, who's very lively, who's very cheerful, who talks a lot, who's very bubbly, who's very who's very, always keeping people around them happy. That's what we think of what enthusiasm is. But what exactly is enthusiasm? That which is favorable for Bhakti is one should always act for Krishna. That is enthusiasm. Krishnartha akhila cheshta. Krishnartha akhila cheshta. For the pleasure of Krishna, doing everything. This is given in Bhakti Rasamrita. So how do we understand this? This is a very deep word. I mean, it looks like if we are doing everything for Krishna, but the meaning is very, very deep. So I'll just give you a slight understanding. Maybe we'll get into the details of this when we do Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What is exactly this Krishna Thakila Cheshta? So there are 2 types of services. One is intentional and the other is incidental. Yeah, let us try to understand what's the difference between these 2. One is intentional, the other is incidental. So what is incidental service and what is intentional service? I'll give you a small example. So all of us have gone to Vrindavan recently. When everybody goes to Vrindavan, there is one thing they will bring back home with them. What is that? Giriraj Son Papdi. Yeah. Whether we bring anything or not, we don't forget to bring this Giriraj Son Papdi. Yeah. So there is a devotee who actually picked up this Giriraj Son Papdi and he was waiting. He wanted to give to another devotee. So by the time he went to the train, he saw that the devotee already left. And so he was not there. And he asked many people, are you going to that place where this devotee has gone? He stays in the north, up north. He said, no, we are not going northward. We are only going south. Everybody was going south. Or is there nobody going to that city? He said, no. Is there no way I can give this to him? No. Okay, fine. So I cannot give it to him anyways. Okay, then you keep it. Saying that you give the Son Papdi to somebody in front of him. How does that person feel? So is this incidental or intentional? Yeah, got the question? Is this incidental or intentional giving? Incidental, yes, exactly, incidental. Yeah. So because you actually were preparing to give it to somebody, I mean, somebody specifically, that person is not there. Okay, now I have nothing to do. So, okay, this person is there, let me give it. That's incidental. Then what is intentional? I have bought only for this person. No matter what happens, I have to give this person only. And you even write the name of that person on the Giriraj Son Papdi. And even if that person is not there, you travel all the way and you catch hold of that person. Hey, listen, I was searching for you. I bought this exclusively for you. Keep this. This is, an offering of my love for you. Then what is this? This is intentional. So if you are in the position of the friend in the first case or the second case, what would make you happy? The incidental or intentional? What makes you happy? Both. Okay. Intentional. Yes. Intentional. Yeah. So, yeah, of course, I mean, what praise he said is when she tried to express it from a different dimension, the dimension that you should be grateful that you got the dabba, no matter, what the purpose is or for whom it is meant. But it actually touches the heart when somebody has made something exclusively for you, right? So this is intentional. This is what is Anukula Bhakti. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu gives a definition of Bhakti. Yeah. Anyabhilashita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena Krishnanustilanam bhavati uttama. So this is Uttama Bhakti, definition of best devotion. What is it? Krishnanustilanam. That is anukulye, rendering service that is favorable to Krishna, that which is pleasing to Krishna. And what kind of service is pleasing to Krishna? It is intentional devotional service. Krishna is also a person. And just like we have feelings, like, I'm more happy when somebody comes and tells me, I have made this exclusively for you. I kept this for you. I'm searching for you and I want you to take it and you see your name on it. You feel very happy. And it's the same you will know you had to give it to somebody else, there's no other option, I'm the only option. Okay, you gave me. Fine, I'm grateful, but I'm not so ecstatic as in the second case. So this concept is very, very important to understand. What is the kind of offering we are rendering to Krishna, whether it is deity worship or whether it is chanting, or any other service we are performing? Is it intentional? Intentional means, are we trying to do that with that sole purpose of bringing pleasure to Krishna, or whether we are singing for him, or whether we are dancing for him, or whether we are cooking for him, or chanting, or any other activity that we are doing? Ask this one question. Is this intentional or incidental? Incidental means, yeah, anyway, I'm doing some activities. Okay, they offer it to Krishna anyways. This is incidental. Intentional is, I'm doing this activity. I want to do this well, perfectly well, and bring pleasure to my beloved Krishna. Yeah, I'm chanting. Let me chant very attentively. Let me try to hear and make this as an offering of my love for Krishna. This is intentional. Chanting. Okay, now it's time to chant. For the next 1.5 hours, I'm going to chant. Okay, let me see how fast I'm going to complete. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And just seeing the beats go down. This is incidental. Yeah. So this is so we should understand. To love means to serve. To serve means to please. All of us understand that the ultimate goal is to love. And what does it mean to love? To love means to serve. And what does it mean to serve? To serve means to please. Yeah, all our sevas are meant to bring pleasure to Krishna. And if any of you try to serve either your guests or somebody at home also, it's not so easy to please. Yeah, it's easy to serve, but it's not always necessary that our service actually pleases that person. Yeah, we all have that experience, especially if we tried hard. Yeah, sometimes we try to cook and maybe it does not turn out to be a very nice dish. So, there is a question of pleasing the person. Yeah. So to love means to serve, and to serve means to please. To please means to render the service in a way that will actually please the heart of the person. This is a very, very beautiful and sweet aspect of bhakti. And one good thing is Krishna is bhavagrahi. That means even though maybe the result is not so great, but if you have sincerely endeavored to please, then Krishna considers that effort, unlike other the ordinary people of this world. Yeah, he's the bhavagrahi. So this is anukula bhakti, intentional versus incidental. This intentional acts of services are something that truly brings pleasure to the heart of the person who receives the service, and one should endeavor to serve in this way. This is what is serving enthusiastically. Yeah, so enthusiasm, utsäha. Yeah, we'll get back to our presentation again. Yeah, so enthusiasm means action. So action means for whom? Krishnartha akila cheshta. Yeah, Krishnartha, for the pleasure of Krishna. Akila cheshta. Yeah, doing everything for the pleasure of Krishna. And it's very deep and profound, and it takes a lot of introspection again and again into our own hearts as to what is my motivation behind these activities. Yeah, a sadhaka means again and again one revises one's motivations. Yeah, and purifies them again and again and again. It's a journey. So unless we take that inventory into our hearts, things get very mechanical. Yeah. So for the bhakti rasa to actually manifest, one has to make it a conscious cultivation, conscious investment of our time, energy, and the right attitude into our actions. So this is utsäha. This is a definition of utsäha. The next leg is, so basically endeavor, go back. Yeah, endeavor executed with intelligence and Krishna consciousness is enthusiasm. So again, and now enthusiasm, it's not some kind of a mindless endeavor, as I said previously. It's not jumping from one activity to the other, doing multiple things. No, it is executing it with intelligence. Yeah, that is enthusiasm. And that means one should not mistake it for some kind of a foolish activity. And this enthusiasm should also be based on confidence and faith. Yeah, so I will tell about that towards the later part. And devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. And what is this intelligence? This intelligence is that everything should be utilized in the service of Krishna. This is called yukta vairagya. The intelligence is called yukta vairagya. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagya uchyate. Yeah, so doing everything, so understanding everything to be the energy of the Lord and dovetailing everything in the service of the Lord, whether it is my talents or whether it is the resources that I have. Like, for example, some people may have some resources, like they might have a beautiful house or a hall. Like recently, there is one devotee who has donated a hall or donated a temple in a place called Neredmat. Yeah, there are so many devotees like that. They have some temple, they have some land, they have some big palatial buildings. They just simply donate it so that they can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Yeah. Or it might be our own talents. Some might be talented in cooking or singing or painting or anything. Utilize it in the service of Krishna. So, and how to do it? It requires a proper mentor. That is why we all need a proper Siksha Guru or mentor who will guide us as to how we can dovetail our talents and energies in the service of Krishna. That is the role of a Siksha Guru. Yeah. So there are two gurus. There is Diksha Guru and there is Siksha Guru. Diksha Guru is one who gives us the initiation, and who actually takes us back to Godhead. But Siksha Guru is the one who trains us how to follow the instructions of the Diksha Guru and bring them alive in our life. Diksha Guru is like the doctor who comes, writes a prescription and he goes away. Siksha Guru is like the nurse who actually gives you the tablets on time and who does all the menial jobs. That's the job of the Siksha Guru. So it's very, very important. The role of Siksha Guru is so important to do this practical devotional service. Next, so the next item is patience. Prabhupada says, one should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. One should not be impatient in discharging devotional service. One should take instructions from the spiritual master and execute them with patience, depending on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So very, very important. How does patience come? Patience comes only with faith in the words of the Guru. We see this beautiful example of Shabari. For 12 years, she just waited and waited and waited for Ram to come. Her spiritual master just said, you wait, and he left. And from then on, for years and years, Shabari, every day, she used to decorate the entire path of the forest in which Ram was expected to come with beautiful flowers. And every day she used to fetch the best of forest fruits. And every day she used to keep the whole kutir clean, neat, and very well kept, expecting that Ram is going to come today, and every day, 365 days, and for years, so many years she waited with patience. This is patience, and this patience is not just like some kind of without confidence or faith. It is said that patience without faith, or patience without confidence, is in the mode of ignorance, and enthusiasm without confidence is in the mode of passion. So patience should be backed up with proper faith in the words of the Guru and Krishna. So always depending on the mercy of the Guru. Even Srila Prabhupada, you see, he has received the instructions of his spiritual master in the year 1922. And from then, he was simply meditating on those instructions. How do I actually bring them to reality? It took him almost 40 years, 4 decades, and over 4 decades to actually begin the mission. And all this while, what he was doing, he was simply meditating on those instructions and patiently, in his own way, trying to bring shape to those words in every situation that he was in. First, Prabhupada went to the Jhansi. That's where he first began the League of Devotees. He even initiated one person, but the whole thing collapsed. It was a failure. But Prabhupada didn't accept that failure. He went on. He was publishing magazines and he was writing books. He was getting them printed. It was so difficult. He was staying in Vrindavan. He used to go to Delhi all the way in bullock carts, and it was so difficult with to convince the printer to actually get his work printed. He used to personally go, and there were instances where he was just walking in Delhi in the midsummer when it was really burning hot, and once even a buffalo came and hit him, and he was just lying on the road without any help. So much of this Prabhupada took at such an old age. When old age, when everybody looks for retirement and a cozy place and a settlement, Prabhupada actually set out on the mission. This is enthusiasm with confidence. This is patience with confidence. Patience that is born out of dependency on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Never giving up at any point of time and waiting for the right time to come. And until the right time comes, keep on endeavoring, keep on meditating on instructions, trying every way possible. And it was not that. And even for going to US itself, it was such a big risk that Prabhupada took. And even after going to US, he just went with that 40 rupees, which was not exchangeable. And even after he went, he faced so many challenges. The only thing that Prabhupada went was a typewriter. The typewriter was stolen. And Prabhupada, who was like, he's Paramahamsa, pure devotee. He was just living amongst hippies. And if you read the Leelamrit, you really have tears. Our, Acharya Prabhupada, he used to, initially he didn't even get a proper place to live. So he used to live with the hippies, and there was only one common bathroom outside. And they all used to stand in a line. And Prabhupada also used to stand in that line to use the washroom. Can you imagine? So he was worthy of worship, such high worship for his position, but he went through all these trials with patience, with determination, and with never giving up the enthusiasm. The slightest of success, that means even if one person used to come, though he may be drunk, though he may be drooling, though he may be intoxicated, though he may, come one day and not be seen for many days, even if one person used to come, Prabhupada used to feel so happy. He used to feel that, yes, we are getting so much of success. He used to write letters to his godbrothers back in India. See, the mission has started, we are getting devotees. He never lost enthusiasm in, making the endeavors. The slightest of success is to celebrate. He was so positive. This is not this kind of a positivity of, the psychology of seeing half glass full. No, this is born out of faith in the words of his spiritual master and endeavoring with enthusiasm and patience and with determination. If you read Leelamrit, you can, this whole verse comes alive about how Prabhupada actually has began this mission. Prabhupada began this mission with nobody, literally nobody. Hardly anybody used to come. But consistently, Prabhupada enthusiastically carried on, not giving up the purity of the message and just preaching it to as many as possible. This is Niscaya, patience, endeavoring with enthusiasm and patience. The last slide of the day. Yeah. So, and one should not be impatient. The success. No, we'll go to the last slide. The successful, this is the last one, Niscaya. We have completed utsäha and Dhairya, and this is Niscaya. What is Niscaya means? Confidence. The successful execution of Krishna conscious activities requires both patience and confidence. As I told you, simply patience without confidence is in the mode of ignorance. Yeah, it requires patience and confidence. And what is it, confidence? The devotee thinks, Krishna. Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of devotional service. This is called confidence. This confidence is very, very, very important. And please let me tell you, this is tested many times because we very easily give up. When things don't happen according to our calculation, the first thing we have, the tendency is we tend to give up. We tend to give up hope. We tend to even doubt Krishna. Hey, is this really going to happen? Why should I even waste my time in this? Am I taking things too seriously? Yeah, the rest of my friends and all, they're all okay without spirituality. So I think, am I missing something in life? So these are all the doubts, that come because of lack of that confidence. Yeah, and this avashya rakshibe Krishna, this faith is needed, especially when we are discharging some kind of a mission, some kind of a task, and we are facing obstacles in that. Keeping the faith that Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of service. Yeah. So this is called confidence. This is a confidence which you need. As I said, if you read Leelamrit of Prabhupada, so many places that there is one letter that Yamuna Mataji writes to Srila Prabhupada, that she's unable to, because of some health issues, she's unable to carry out certain activities in devotional service. So Prabhupada wrote back to her, this is a material body which is a bad bargain. And Prabhupada writes that he said, every day when I wake up, I get a noise in my brain. That means Prabhupada had many health issues actually. He said I can continuously hear a kind of sound in the ear which doesn't go off, but I continue to do my writing work. So this is material body. It's a bad bargain. But what intelligent people do, make the best use of the bad bargain. Yeah. So with the faith, again, with the faith that avashya rakshive Krishna. Krishna will definitely protect me if I'm executing my devotional service. And of course, one has to keep the balance and also protect this body, understanding that it is the property of the Lord, and take care of it in that consciousness. So these three principles that we have just learned are very important aspects, which are very powerful ingredients, and they will bring us success on the path of bhakti. Yeah, definite success on the path of bhakti. When we endeavor with enthusiasm, that means not losing hope. And enthusiasm means, again, endeavoring with intelligence. Yeah, and enthusiasm means performing activity for the pleasure of Krishna and endeavoring with intelligence. Then with patience. Yeah, and a devotee should never give up patience while discharging devotional service. And this patience and enthusiasm should be done with confidence. Yeah, Niscaya. Confidence that avashya rakhibe Krishna, and also confidence and faith in the words of the instructions of the spiritual master. So when this faith and confidence is there, directed in the right direction. Okay, so I will end here. Thank you all very much. So we will continue with the next three more items. Yeah, Tattat Karma Pravartana, Sangatyagat, and Satovritti. These three we will do in the next session. Okay, thank you all very much. Any questions? Any quick questions? I can take one. Yes, anybody has any questions? Okay, so we will end the session here. We can stop the recording.